After several sectors of the economy reawakened when the total lockdown was lifted by the federal government, education still depended completely on virtual learning. However, the reopening of schools is continuity for SSS 3 students. Yet, it may seem like a fresh beginning for these young Nigerians who will embrace new traditions in a familiar terrain. While the excitement of the resuming set is palpable, anxiety cannot be suppressed. How geared up are school managers in public and private citadels of learning for the new scheme of things? How can regulatory bodies effectively monitor and insist on safety conduct of all individuals in a formal school setting towards ensuring maximum protection from the coronavirus? How can personal space among students be secured given that youthful exuberance by nature has little regards for boundaries during interactions? The new normal in an academic environment is our business today on Panorama, coming to you from NTA Lagos Network Center. I am Hingino John Adams. Welcome.
The Murtala
Thanks for being there. We begin with security. President Muhammadu Buhari has convened an extraordinary meeting of the National Security Council. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports that the meeting was summoned by the Nigerian leader in response to what he described as a disturbing trend in the nation's security situation. In attendance at the crucial engagement were Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, the National Security Advisor, all the service chiefs led by the Chief of Defense Staff and the Chief of Defense Intelligence. Others are the Inspector General of Police, Director General of Department of State Services, and the National Intelligence Agency, and other critical stakeholders. The meeting, being held behind closed doors, is coming few days after Governor Babagana Zulum of Borno alleged sabotage in the renewed fight against terrorism and insurgency. This was shortly after his convoy came under attack by gunmen suspected to be Boko Haram elements as they headed for Baga on routine visit to the IDP's camp. It would be recalled that during the last Security Council meeting, President Buhari told the security chiefs that their best is not good enough as regards the way and manner the battle against insecurity is being persecuted. He promised to do whatever it takes within available resources and limits of the law to deal decisively and proactively with the various security challenges bedeviling the country. The ongoing meeting is therefore expected to thoroughly analyze the prevailing challenges of security and chart the best way forward for Nigeria. NTA News will keep you informed about major decisions to be taken at the interactive dialogue as soon as they are made public. Now to aviation. Authorities at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport in Lagos have heightened COVID-19 preventive measures to further guarantee safety. Michael Olale reports that passengers have fully adjusted to the new protocol.
The Murtala Mohammed International Airport in Lagos might not be able to reach its 7.3 million passengers traffic recorded last year. But the optimism among air travelers is the return of flight operations even in the face of the dreaded coronavirus. It is 1 month since man must fly amidst the coronavirus pandemic, and not in the widest imagination of Phillips Onowu will he have thought that a time will come when face masks and hand sanitizers will be a prerequisite for traveling, just like the airfare tickets and passports. He, however, commended the measures put in place to contain the virus.
This is the first time I'm flying since after the lockdown, and I thought I was going to come in and see a lot of stress. But it's just straightforward. Just wash your hands, they take your temperature, and then you're going.
Unlike when the airport was newly reopened for flight operations, authorities have now included fumigation of luggages.
Everything look very nice, look very new, look super. And I'm just coming from US, and I think it's comparable to the local.
Although data released by the Nigeria Center for Disease Control indicates a 3-day consecutive decline of COVID-19 cases in Nigeria, but the need for more sensitization was stressed by travelers.
Some people think the government is joking, but the truth is the virus is out there, and it's together thing we can. We won't stop preaching. That's COVID. Stay safe, wash your hands, sanitize. We won't stop.
As the world seeks for a cure for coronavirus, the commencement of domestic flight operations remains the litmus test that will invariably determine the modalities for the restart of international flights. In Lagos, Michael Olale, NTA News.
Let's now turn our attention to education. Monday, the 3rd of August, is an epic date in the 2020 academic calendar as it marks the reopening of schools for specific students in Lagos. Correspondent who monitored the first day of resumption reports about the sensitization on ground. The long default holiday is over for SS3 and Tech 3 students in Lagos. However, the COVID-19 pandemic has changed the modus operandi of schools. Temperature checks, hand washing, use of face masks, among other safety protocols for the prevention of coronavirus are being employed.
We are back, we are live. After many months, we've been at home, studying alone.
They said, if you don't wear face masks, you don't enter. Now, everybody came with their face masks.
Preparatory classes for the West Africa Senior School Certificate Examination are back, and only a handful of students occupy each classroom in compliance with the social and physical distancing guideline. A team from the Lagos State government is on ground to ensure total compliance.
We cannot risk them catching this dreaded COVID disease. We are trying to ensure that we reduce the risk to the barest minimum.
In a few weeks, the examinations will begin. The students are optimistic that they will excel because they were adequately engaged through e-learning during the protracted lockdown. In Lagos, now, still, guidelines for schools have been listed for enforcement as final year students in secondary level return for examinations. Here to analyze pertinent issues about this shift is Adesheke Babatunde, former chairman, is Dr. Rita Oladele, consultant clinical microbiologist. Thanks for joining us on the program. Hello, doctor, can you hear me? Hello, Dr. Oladele, can you hear me? Okay, it seems we have issues connecting. We now take a break. The program continues shortly. Thanks for being there. While waiting to reconnect with Dr. Rita Oladele, let's now talk about COVID-19. The latest statistics provided by the Nigeria Center for Disease Control reveals that 288 new cases of coronavirus have been recorded in the country as at the 3rd of August, bringing the total number of confirmed cases to 44,129. The new cases were recorded in 15 states, with Lagos emerging the highest next with 88, followed by Kwara with 33. Osun has 27, FCT and Enugu have 25 cases each, while Abia 20, Kaduna 17, Plateau and Rivers have 13 cases each, Delta 10 and Gombe 8. Others are Ogun 4, Oyo 3, while Katsina and Bauchi have 1 new case each. The total number of patients discharged so far stands at 20,663, while 896 deaths have been recorded so far across the country. Still on COVID-19, Nigeria recorded a decline in positive COVID-19 cases from 17.2% in June to 11% in July, despite an increase in testing capacity during the period. The Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 at Monday's briefing in Abuja says citizens, however, cannot afford to lower their guards to prevent community transmission. Mitaire Ikben tells us more.
Updates from the Minister of Health.
The Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 resumes its briefing by commending state governments and religious leaders for significantly enforcing COVID-19 protocols during the Salah holiday. The task force also acknowledges a daily decline in Nigeria's confirmed COVID-19 cases, but says it is not yet time to celebrate.
It is too early to draw conclusions, but it is noteworthy that the testing increased by over 40,000 in that 1 month from June to July, while the number of positive cases dropped by more than 2,000. We must not rest on our oars, and what we see is just suggestive of the fact that at least our strategy is not failing.
The Presidential Task Force will submit its 6th interim report to Mr. President. As subject to his approval, we hope to present the way forward to Nigerians at the next briefing on Thursday, 6th August 2020.
While the world awaits a vaccine for COVID-19, Nigeria is getting ready for a vaccination campaign.
Right now, there are about 5 candidates that are in phase 2 to 3 trials. We have to start preparing the Nigerian population for vaccine delivery when it becomes available.
There were sectoral updates and clarifications.
There was nowhere where I said every Nigerian has received palliative. The provision of take-home ration under the modified homegrown school feeding program was not a sole initiative of the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development. Only 3 states have launched the program, and they remain Lagos, Ogun, and the FCT. In the FCT, 29,609 households were impacted. Lagos recorded 37,589 households, while Ogun State had 60,391 households, making a total of 124,589 households impacted between May 14, 2020 and July 6, 2020.
The Presidential Task Force assures health workers that the country has a stockpile of personal protective equipment to prevent COVID-19 infection in the line of duty. In Abuja, Mitaire Ikben, NTA News.
Now to the judiciary. The Federal High Court sitting in Lagos has granted the final forfeiture of more than 800 million naira allegedly belonging to Flank Power Resources and GMFD Ventures to the federal government. Justice Chukwuemeka Aneke of the Federal High Court granted the order following the application by the EFCC investigator seeking the forfeiture of the sum to the federal government on the grounds that the funds were proceeds of unlawful activities by the 2 companies which are contractors to the Niger Delta Development Commission. EFCC had discovered that between 2018 and 2019, the 2 companies had received the funds from the NDDC at an inflated cost and without executing the contracts. The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadia Umar Farouk, has given a comprehensive response to speculations and fake news circulating around the 13 billion naira purportedly spent daily on provision of take-home rations under the modified homegrown school feeding program. In a statement, the minister clarified that each take-home ration was valued at 4,200 naira per month, launched only in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, followed by Lagos and Ogun State, stating that the homegrown school feeding program was not a sole decision of the ministry, but implemented with consultations with state governments through the Nigeria Governors Forum, in accordance with a presidential directive. The humanitarian minister also clarified she has not at any time or anywhere said that every Nigerian has received palliatives. She reiterated the determination of the ministry to stay focused in fulfilling the mandate given by the federal government. Now, the coronavirus curve is still rising globally, and governments around the world are employing measures to flatten it. Lagos still remains the epicenter in Nigeria with high rate of community transmission. This report takes a look at the role being played by community leaders to flatten the curve. COVID-19 is no more new to the world. With the awareness that it may have come to stay, people are now learning to cohabit with it, resulting in lifestyle adjustments popularly known as the new normal. However, it seems as if some people are not aware that the virus continues to tighten its grip on the world and remains very contagious, killing millions. This is the reason for the spike in number of cases, but concerned authorities are not letting their guards down. With community transmission increasing in Lagos State, traditional rulers are employing various means of enlightenment and enforcement of the preventive COVID-19 measures.
We are almost 100% compliance with the safety rules, almost 100%. If there be anything left at all, it will be because we don't have enough sanitizers to distribute, because we have made some and we distribute.
We continue to sensitize and enlighten people that we don't want to continue to lose important souls.
We also have a bull, Washington bull. We put it at the entrance of this gate for people that are coming into this community.
And using this opportunity to tell the entire nation, Lagos, Langbasa in particular, Kingdom, that the COVID-19 is real.
Even as these leaders try their best to make their people embrace all the health measures to curtail the coronavirus pandemic, more attention is shifted to the roles of individuals to ensure a COVID-19 free society. In Lagos, you're watching Panorama coming to you from the Lagos Network Center. Now, time for a break. We will be back shortly. Thanks for staying. It has been said that the youths are the future leaders of a nation. And for a country like Nigeria, with rich cultural heritage, different ethnic groups and languages, the role of youths in promoting a united nation, especially at a time like this, cannot be overemphasized. Those were the submissions of some cultural enthusiasts at a press briefing on the way forward for Nigeria youths. Annie Daniels reports.
Country with more than 250 ethnic groups. Previous governments, in trying to promote a national unity, introduced several programs, including the National Youth Service Corps, NYSC. These concerned Nigerians argue that, though the scheme has recorded a success, more needs to be done.
On one side, you get the issue of religions becoming a threat to our national unity. And on one side, you also get the tribal aspect of it as becoming yardstick to our progress as a nation.
The government took a very good initiative by appointing a 40-year-old young man as an ambassador and did the ambassador committee. The youth of this country, I know then they can bring out the cure for COVID-19.
They are therefore advocating a reality TV show called Nigerian Unity House, where youths from all over the country will come together, exhibit their cultural and traditional know-how, learn more, and take up the campaign of fostering unity in diversity, translating to strong and viral Nigeria.
The only people we will not accept in the house is anyone with the attitude that is repugnant to natural justice, equity, and good conscience. You come, you must have a result. You must have something to tell us how we can better this country.
We're bringing about this orientation of know your roots, because when you know your roots, you will know how to affect the society positively.
Those concerned Nigerians are optimistic that matching words with action, those attributes that distinguish the various elements of the nation, will be put to effectual use. In Lagos, Annie Daniels, NTA News.
Down to sports. Stakeholders have been reacting to the Nigeria sports industry policy recently presented to the Minister of Sports. Olumide Oguntola has this and more on sports updates.
The Nigerian Association for Physical and Health Education, Recreation, Sports and Dance, NAFA-SD, called for the total overhaul of Nigeria's sports policy recently presented to the Minister of Sports, Sunday Dare, during a virtual meeting of the association. The association advised that professionals should be allowed to work on the document in order to achieve an internationally accepted, befitting policy, as the document lacks motivations.
All necessary stakeholders that should have input will get them involved.
The 3 I's and the P's, which were the cardinal point of this administration, are not included in the policy.
And in volleyball, a coach with Samaritan Volleyball Academy Lagos, Napoleon Amata, has taken advantage of the lockdown on sporting activities to invent a locally made attack drill equipment that could be compared to foreign ones. His vision, when empowered, is to put Nigeria on the world map of Committee of Nations producing sports equipment.
I saw the attacking machine on the net. Then the question I asked myself, can I make this thing?
Instead of we going outside the country now to get such equipment that are very, very expensive, one of our own has just done it.
Innovate more by including those for setters and blockers.
Doing this tells us that people are still interested in the game.
They have appealed to stakeholders and governments to support the likes of Coach Amata, who are creative in the areas of constructing sporting equipment locally, with a view to discovering budding talents in Nigeria. And on a cheering note, Super Eagles striker Samuel Kalu is reported to recover from coronavirus, having spent days in isolation. The player is reported to have since resumed training with his club, Bordeaux, French Ligue 1 club side. With sports update, Olumide Oguntola, NTA News.
That's it on Panorama from the Lagos Network Center. Thanks for watching and do stay safe.